Early in the morning, next December 12th, a Canadian woman from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, will be preparing to make history. That's when Dr. Roberta Bondar will be strapping herself into the Columbia Space Shuttle on her way to becoming the second Canadian in space and Canada's first woman astronaut to make a space flight. Dr. Bondar has been preparing for the mission for years. Now, she says, it's a dream finally coming true.
T-minus 13, 12, 11, 10. We have a go for main engine start. 6, 5. We have main engine start. 3, 2, 1. SRB ignition and liftoff. Liftoff of STS-29 as Discovery clears the tower.
The space program seems to be very much back on track following the shuttle disaster of 4 years ago.
Mission Control, Houston.
With space travel now again becoming almost routine, the stuff of science fiction movies is fast becoming science fact. Canada has played a major role in the shuttle program. These pictures of Mark Garneau, Canada's first astronaut, touched us all as they were beamed back from space. And the Canadarm, developed and manufactured exclusively by a Canadian firm, has proved to be one of the measures by which our technology has been judged by the world. Six years ago, Dr. Roberta Bondar and Dr. Ken Money were chosen to train to be the next Canadians in space. Their selection says something about the changing priorities of the space program. They're not macho test pilots, they're distinguished scientists.
Okay, this is the one we're going to use from Finepress, so...
Roberta Bondar makes most overachievers look lazy. A 44-year-old native of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. She's a physician, research scientist, pilot, an all-around sportswoman, and a world expert in urology and genetics. Ken Money's resume is equally impressive. He was an Olympic high jumper. He's a pilot, a skier, and a world expert on motion sickness. A 55-year-old Torontonian, he's one of Canada's most distinguished scientists. Both Bondar and Money are spending a lot of time in the States these days at space centers in Alabama and Texas. They're preparing for the greatest challenge of their lives. They're learning about the scientific experiments which they'll have to conduct in space.
And a source material of mercuric iodide on the side.
From the beginning, both scientists knew that only one would be chosen to fly. They've become intense but friendly rivals.
He's made a couple of right-angle turns in front of Greyhound buses with me as a passenger, so quite often I insist taking my own car.
She reciprocates by running at me on bridges and attempting to tip me over the rail. As a matter of fact, it occurred to me the next time she tries that, I'll duck.
But last January, at a press conference in Montreal, the final announcement was made. 200 scientists who are involved with the Space Lab experiments made the difficult choice.
Dr. Roberta Bondar has been chosen as the prime payload specialist, and Dr. Ken Money will serve as the backup payload specialist.
For Roberta Bondar, a happy culmination of years of hard work. For Ken Money, a bitter disappointment, which he accepts with grace.
I'm just absolutely thrilled out of my mind that the international investigators have seen fit to make this announcement and make the selection. For me right now, it's really exciting to know that you're being part of Canadian history. And that's something that you dream of as a child when you read stories of all these explorers, but you never really think that you're going to be one of them. And then suddenly you get the chance. And it is unlike anything that I have experienced in my life, and it is more exciting day by day.
The scientists involved in the mission did vote and did elect Roberta, who won on that basis fair and square. And basically, no doubt, they chose because her background fit the experiments better than I did, and they preferred her to fly in space.
It's at the Marshall Space Flight Center that they turn conventional earthbound scientists into payload specialists. While their primary mission in space would be as scientists, it's here that they begin the cross-training that turns them into astronauts as well.
Here's where we'll be doing the bulk of our experimentation.
Both primary and backup astronauts have to be familiar with all the scientific equipment aboard the shuttle. They train in mock-ups. If the equipment breaks down, they have to know how to fix it. You can't call a mechanic in space. The astronaut in training goes through a lot. Here, Dr. Bondar is being spun like a top to see what effect it has on her system. Motion sickness experiments are an important part of the mission in which the Canadian astronauts are involved. Most of us would find the test thoroughly incapacitating. In other words, we'd be sick as dogs, but it's all part of the astronauts' training.
I don't think people understand how much work is involved. I don't think people understand the complexity of it, why it takes so long to train for a flight. I think when people come down and see the size of a shuttle and see the amount of training we have to go through and see what's required just for 1 hour of training, it's very impressive.
The scientific experiments to be conducted on the space flight are extremely complex. But while the emphasis of the space program may have shifted, you still have to be in top shape to qualify as an astronaut. Roberta Bondar pumps iron for exercise these days, but she's also a crack shot, a hot air balloonist, a canoeist, and a cross-country skier. Ken Money, as backup astronaut, will monitor the flight from here, this console in the Space Lab Control Center. While there has to be some disappointment involved in not being chosen to fly, the role here on the ground is also considered absolutely vital to the success of the mission. Space Lab Mission Manager Robert McBrayer.
It is absolutely essential that these people that have been trained for 2 years and have a working, very intimate knowledge of the science on board and have been through the same experiences as the one on orbit are here in order to interpret comments that come down. You have a beautiful communication system now. It's just part of the byproduct that fits so beautifully with the scheme of operations on the ground as well as on orbit.
One of the toughest parts of the training is the time spent on the so-called Vomit Comet. It's a specially rigged jet transport plane that flies like a roller coaster, creating a zero-gravity environment to condition astronauts for space travel. For the payload specialists, it's like having to do complex, sophisticated experiments while being violently seasick.
So I was very ill after about the 7th parabola, the 7th one of the tops of the roller coaster, and you can't stop the bus type of thing, and I was sick for another 33, and I've never been that sick. I must have vomited over 60 times. It's interesting to grab a motion sickness bag in one hand to make sure that your subject is organized and to be punching buttons on the machine with the other hand, and the whole time thinking about what you're going to be doing 10 seconds later.
No place for somebody who can't walk and chew gum.
You got it.
And if that isn't enough, both had to learn free-fall parachuting. Ken Money has now made enough jumps that he actually enjoys it and has added skydiving to his long list of hobbies. And as you can see, it's not a sport for the faint-hearted. Do you do this as part of your training?
Yes, it's part of the training. And the shuttle has an escape system using a parachute, so we're supposed to do it for that reason. And also as an exercise in stress management. Only the first 2 or 3 are stressful. After that, it's really terrific. It's really something. I just love it.
Good. Ken Money says he'll be the best backup he can possibly be, generously conceding that it will be Roberta's day.
International cooperation is very, very important, and I'm exceptionally pleased that we have the opportunity now to show the world that Canada has the understanding, the patience, the talent, and all of the scientific minds available to be able to participate not only in this flight, but in activities in the future, both in space and on the ground. I think this is a very, very exciting time for Canada, because I know it's an exceptionally exciting time for both Ken and myself. And we hope that all Canadians will be able to understand and enjoy the flight as much as we have. We hope that we'll be able to explain the science even before the mission, so you'll all be able to be quite tickled when you see things developing in space. You see us floating around doing various experiments, that you too will understand what it is that we're really doing.
If the shuttle program stays on track, the second Canadian in space will blast off from the Cape here in December 1990. And as anyone who's done it will tell you, there's no greater thrill on Earth than this.
1, SRB ignition, and liftoff. Liftoff of STS-29 as Discovery clears the tower.
To actually fly a mission in space has to be the yardstick by which an astronaut measures his or her life. Roberta Bondar has spent years now in preparation for her mission. Her personal qualities and professional qualifications are outstanding. When she joins that exclusive group of human beings that have actually flown in space, she'll have proven beyond any doubt that she too has the right stuff.